This is Lorraine.
And we're matching today.
We are. Jennifer and I color coordinated.
Nobody's got time for that.
Yeah. You know, our personal branding this morning is blue. I'm trying to stretch that whole personal branding into storytelling, which is our topic. But I'm just going to dive in and say that everybody loves a good story.
Yes. A story gets you involved in wanting to know what happens next, and getting that it's a emotional tie to event, and you're like, whether or not it's true or not, I mean, of course we're talking true with marketing, but it gets you involved, and you're like, I need to be part of that story.
Absolutely. And I think there are some people that are great storytellers that really have the ability to pull you in and leave you sitting at the edge of your seat in every conversation. And I think many business owners feel like, well, that's not me. And so instead of trying to go partway into the story, they jump right to the facts.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? There's nothing engaging about the fact that I've been in business 25 years and I've done this and this. No, I don't care.
No. And people, when they get emotionally involved and they can see themselves in your messaging as that is me, that is my story, then they do. So I guess unless you have somebody that maybe is just directly the hard facts, which I find that hard to believe in any demographic, that you have somebody that's just straight hardcore facts. Everybody wants to be part of the story.
And I think storytelling has been kind of a buzzword in marketing, maybe for a decade, maybe as long as we've really been doing content marketing. But to break it down, what a story really is talking about a particular client or a particular product or project that had a happy ending. Talking about what people say about you and why. And I had one person tell me that businesses need to tell the story of what they are like on their very best day. When you're firing on all cylinders, what happens?
Yeah. I also think of it in terms of understanding what somebody's pain is and what somebody's problem is, and tying it to how your product or service solves that pain, or what is needed. And I think that helps people understand that you get them and you understand what they're going through, and using the language that matters for them.
Absolutely. It's essentially, if you want to back up and use quote marketing language, storytelling is case studies. It is describing, not in numbers necessarily, but in
Problem solution.
What was the problem? What was the solution? And then if you really got to do numbers, results. This company came to us, this was their problem, we did these things, and as a result, they saw an increase, a reduction, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think there's some guidelines for good storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people think every fact needs to be in a story.
Yep. I think staying authentic is important. That is to what your story is. I think you have to get the audience's attention, but I mean, basic storytelling is who, what, when, where, why.
Absolutely. And I want to go back to that authenticity. I want to say it is an edited version of authenticity. So if I ask you, why did you start your business? I don't need a detailed description of the pain you went through in corporate America. Now, I mean, my story, if you go and you read my bio, after spending too many years in corporate America dealing with glass ceilings and bad, I started my own business. I didn't tell you about all the things that happened to me. I didn't tell you about my 20 years of successful corporate America. I hit the highlights. I was in corporate. I've got the badge. Some things. I have a sense of humor, and then I came and started my business. Selectively authentic.
Yes, yes. I think in today's ChatGPT world, telling the story and using ChatGPT could get away from your authentic story because it is just telling a story, not necessarily your particular story.
I was talking to someone on the More Than a Few Words podcast about using AI to write your homepage copy. And she actually has a really good model for, first thing, asking ChatGPT to create a list of questions that she should answer that would help it write the homepage copy. And then she goes through and she answers the questions, and ChatGPT creates the copy. And then she says, before you paste it, what you need to do is you need to read it out loud, every sentence, and ask yourself, does this sound like me? So it's not that you avoid using ChatGPT, but that you really look hard at, you know what? That's good information, but I wouldn't say it that way.
Human interaction.
Yes.
Another way I can kind of tie this in with storytelling is that if your particular stories and integrating them into your content is what is going to make your content different, that does come out of ChatGPT and will help from that whole like SEO factor, not to mention the fact that it's going to pull somebody in. I mean, totally two different sides here, but those are stories that cannot be generated anywhere else. They're your particular stories, which makes the content unique.
And while you're talking about unique and SEO, my favorite stories are the stories that come from your customers. So again, going back to the case study, but including a review or some kind of content feedback that really is in the words of the customer. It's their words. It's not your words from a marketing perspective. It's how they really talk about your product or service. That's going to make the content very searchable, because if your customer talks about you that way, other customers will use those words.
Yes. And don't be afraid to, if you're in a Zoom call, turn on the video and get a video recording. I've certainly done it. It's more authentic. It's more on the fly. You know, when you try to make it too scripted, then it's not legitimate. I've had customers like, oh, I really want to think about it. And I'm like, no, I just want to know what you think right from the heart.
And one of the things I've always said when I've shot video is I love doing it on one take, because I don't get better with multiple takes.
No.
The more times I have to think about something, the more nervous I get, the more mistakes I get, the more I trip over my words. There is nothing better than that first take.
Now in today's world, we want the real. We don't want the edited highly. So yeah, but they're telling your story with their words.
Absolutely. And that's a great idea, because again, we love a good story. We may or may not have the patience to read a good story, but I can tell you a story in a minute or two of video, and I'll watch it. I'll listen to the audio and get that story. And that's really the very best kind of marketing you can do.
Absolutely. I think we've covered the story.
This is a story that continues every week right here on Friday mornings. We hope that you'll come back.
Yes. And if you want to dive into what your particular story is and how to market your brand, certainly go to digitaltoolbox.club and sign up for some individual time so we can look at where you are at.
Awesome.
Take care.